Will you take part in my life, my love?
What's going on YouTube? Welcome back to ST Supercars and welcome to a brand new video. So probably a month or so ago now, I featured this very car behind me on the channel, and during that video I actually did say it was going to be coming back. So the owner since then has had IBAC springs fitted front and rear, so it's now sitting that little bit lower. But also the reason it's taken a little bit longer is because the owner has actually gone and had it remapped. So he took it to Unicorn Motor Developments and Rick, and he has now had it remapped, and it's pushing out about 364 brake and well over 500 foot-pound of torque. What I'll do is I'll put the graph on screen now so you can see it. But yeah, I had to wait for that. I thought it may as well combine the two in one. So first off, if we just take a little look at the impact switching the springs has had, particularly on ride height. So if we start at the rear, you'll be able to see that is significantly lower. And then if we move down to the front, again, you'll be able to notice there it's definitely lower, 100%. So if we take a look at the side profile of the car now, it's actually sitting much better. To be honest, this is how an M Sport should have come out of factory. It shouldn't have had to take the springs changing to get this look, as opposed to the roller skate look. But yeah, that's basically what it looks like from the outside. But actually what's most important is the impact that spring swap has had on the drive of the car. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go and test out the driving modes, see what the springs have done, and also see what that power increase feels like. So yeah, I'll see you on the inside. So finally out in the car, and immediately from my kind of first couple of minutes of driving the car, I can already feel the impact changing those springs has had. So just by reducing it in height ever so slightly and giving it a slightly firmer spring, it's actually, even in comfort mode, which I'm in at the minute, even in comfort mode, it's improved the body roll, and you just feel that little bit lower to the ground, a little bit more squat. Particularly body roll being the main thing. Before it felt very, very wallowy, and now it feels that little bit more compliant, a little bit more squat. But most importantly, what it hasn't done is lost that characteristic comfort had, which makes it a great cruiser. So this still feels stock. I think if you jumped in this and didn't know it had been lowered, you wouldn't necessarily think it had been lowered. It's not necessarily any more harsh on ride wise. So all in all, I do really think that actually swapping the springs is basically, this is how it should have come out from factory. Now the car's in sport mode, it's definitely firmer. You can feel that it's night and day compared to comfort. There's less body roll, there's less rebound from the dampers, and overall it feels more compliant now. Again, just overall, whatever mode you're in, these springs have made it so you just feel that little bit lower, a little bit more squat to the road. It feels like there's a lot less body roll now. Before it felt very wallowy, and whilst if you push on in comfort mode, it does still feel that little bit wallowy, it's not quite as crisp. But actually when you put it in sport, that changes, and you've now got quite nice body control. There's so much less roll than before. The roll was horrendous before. That was my biggest complaint last time I drove it. Great car, fun to drive, but actually just too much body roll. Even when you put it in sport and sport plus, there is just that little bit too much body roll. Yeah, now this car is phenomenally quick now after that remap. But most importantly is I can turn it into a corner and power out. This just destroys B roads, just destroys them, like literally. I'm really not sure there's going to be much else that's on roads like this, which are greasy, which are wet. I'm not sure there's going to be much else which can keep up with you, because even now, just, yeah, ever so slight hint of understeer there. This car's phenomenally quick. And most importantly, in that flow of corners then, it just feels so much more compliant. I do still think this steering they've implemented in the F series just inspires no confidence. So when I had my E92, you could push on and you knew what was going on with the wheels, and you just always felt connected to the car, whereas this, the steering feels very, 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 very disconnected. But for me, that is still the biggest sticking point for this car, is the steering. It just really doesn't inspire confidence. You never really feel like you know exactly what's going on with the car. What I would say though is it's phenomenally quick, and if you do trust it, it does tend to just go, so you can just kind of feed it the power, and yeah, away you've gone, and you're flying down the road. So it's not necessarily a bad thing, and I think if you were to have this car day to day, you would learn to adjust to that light steering and lack of feedback, and you'd get an understanding of what the levels of grip are like. But yeah, even like if I go hot into this corner, it's, you know, yeah, it's manageable. I think the gearbox slowed me down a little bit there. It just didn't change up when I wanted it to, but you know, you can throw it in and actually you can feel that power being sent to the front to grip, and it just grips you and pulls you through the corner. Even if you do go in a little too hot, or you know, you end up turning in ever so slightly too late, yeah, phenomenal. But now what I really want to do is, I have had a little glimpse and a little taste of the power, but what I'm going to do is flip the car around, because this is actually quite a nice stretch of road, and now test the car for power. So I've had the gearbox in its kind of standard auto mode, which has meant actually sometimes coming out of a corner, I've put my foot down and really I should have been a gear down, but the gearbox is just like, okay, now we'll go. So yeah, flip it round, set it in. First off, I'm going to do a run with it just knocked to the left, so it's sport gearbox, and then actually I'm going to put it on the paddles. But already it's holding onto gears. But what I do like is, even in the sport gearbox, when you've knocked it over, you still have an element of control of that with your right foot. So let's just... Wow. That was nice. So this car is, I thought this car was quick anyway, but now it's on another level. It's so bloody quick. It's ludicrous. It hooks up and goes, and before you know it, flying down the road at silly speeds. Honestly, what a brilliant car all round. So do I think it's just so much more compliant now. It's so much better to drive compared to when I last drove it. Honestly, I can't believe the difference. Just springs and a remap have changed. Now I'm just going to test the actual map out, and I want a bit more control whilst pushing it over to sport. It's great actually having a bit of manual control, and the paddles will be brilliant. So all I want to do is, I'm just going to take it back up that road, put it in manual, and really get the chance to test the map and the springs together in combination, rather than I've kind of isolated the springs by having everything in auto mode. I've had a little drive of it in sport auto, but now it's time for me to take control and see what this car is really about. What I do like about this remap as well is it's just torque at any point from about 1200 RPM. hugging the roads. Oh, this is so much fun to drive. And the thing is, it's just got torque literally for days. The thing is, it's not felt anywhere near this quick driving it in, well, anywhere near, that's unfair. It's not felt this quick driving it in the Sport Auto. It's not until I put it in manual mode now that we can really... What a car! Honestly, fuck. So I've actually just pulled over to kind of gather my thoughts after that very quick blast down the road, and overall I think for anyone who has a 335D and is actually looking at potentially changing the springs, remapping the car, I'd say both of them, although together they cost quite a bit, either one of them separately or both together, they are well worth the money you spend. The lowering springs have improved the handling. They've now the chassis, it inspires more confidence. You feel more planted, you feel closer to the road, you feel that little bit lower. It just feels that bit more squatter. So when you are attacking, even though the steering offers nothing, you've got more confidence the car is just going to flow down those B roads. You can thread it through quite nicely. The remap, it's like unbelievably quick. It was already a quick car, and the remap has just taken that stock map and like basically moved the power band higher. Torque, wherever, it's a torque monster. I don't think there were many other cars on the road that were as torquey as this, and actually that makes it for a diesel quite enjoyable to drive because there's that instant surge of torque. So yeah, overall I think if you are going to do it, if you can afford to, absolutely do it. You will not regret it. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed today's video. If you've got any comments, leave them below. The owner of this car is actually on the BMW F30 owners group Facebook page. Feel free to find him on there, ask any questions, or alternatively do leave them below and I will get back to you. Give us a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. I will catch you all very soon. Cheers guys.